Hi, my name is Thomas Spencer, and this is thebibleguy.com and thebibleguideblog.com. We are doing a Through the Bible for Children and Children at Heart. Hey, let's jump into 1 Kings. Chariots of Fire. Elijah wanted a helper, so he chose a man to help him. This man's name was Elisha. Elisha loved God too. One day, Elijah took Elisha with him on a long walk. Elijah was an old man now, and it was time for him to go to heaven. When they came to the Jordan River, Elijah took his cloak off and he hit the water with it, and the water moved back on each side. Elijah and Elisha walked across on dry land. Then Elijah asked, "What can I do for you before I go?" "I want to be like you," said Elijah. "But if you see me go, you will get what you ask for." As they were walking and talking, they saw a chariot of fire coming. Horses of fire pulled it. It came between Elijah and Elisha, and Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind, and Elisha watched. Then Elisha picked up Elijah's cloak. He walked back to the river. He hit the river with the cloak, and the water moved back. He could walk across. Elisha now had God's power with him, just like Elijah had. One day, a woman came to Elisha. She was worried. "I don't have the money I need to pay for everything I have. The man I owe is angry. He will take my 2 sons. He will make them work for him. What can I do?" Elisha asked, "What do you have at home?" "I only have a little oil," she said. Elisha said, "Ask your neighbors for empty jars. Then pour oil into each jar." And the woman did exactly what Elisha told her to do. She poured and poured. Still her oil did not run out. Her oil was not gone until she had filled all of the jars. She told Elijah, "All the jars are full." Elisha said, "Go and sell the oil. Take the money you get and pay back what you owe. You can keep the money that is left over." Elisha went to many places, doing what God wanted. One day he went to Shunem. A rich woman lived there. She took Elisha to her house for dinner. From then on, when he was in Shunem, he ate at her house. They became good friends. "Let's make a room for Elisha up on our roof," the woman told her husband. "We will put a bed in it, and we will put a table and a chair and a lamp in it. He can stay there whenever he comes to visit." So they made a room for Elisha. Now Elisha had a helper, and one day Elisha was staying in Shunem. He asked his helper, "What can I do for this woman? She has made this room for me." "She has no son," his helper said. So Elisha called the woman. "Next year," he said, "God will give you a baby boy." It happened just as Elisha had said. The next year, she did have a baby boy, and she loved him very much. Now, Naaman was a leader of a great army. His wife had a little servant girl from Israel. But Naaman was sad and worried. He had a sickness called leprosy. It was a very bad sickness. One day the servant girl said to Naomi's wife, I wish Naaman would go see Elisha. Elisha would help him get well. So Naaman went to Elisha's house, and Elisha told him, Go to the Jordan River, wash yourself 7 times there, then you will be well. This sounded silly to Naaman. He was angry. I can wash in my own rivers at home, he said. They're better. But Naaman's servant said, Do what Elisha said. It is an easy thing to do. So Naaman went to the river Jordan, and he washed 7 times, and he was well, just as Elisha said he would be. Let's talk about the next king. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he was a good king. He obeyed God. Parts of God's temple were broken and old. Josiah got workers to build it back. One day the priests found something in the temple. It was something important. It was the book of the law of God. It had been forgotten for many years. He took the book to King Josiah, and the king read it. We must follow these laws, he said. We must do what God wants. And they did. God was happy with King Josiah, and God blessed him. Tomorrow, Daniel.